You don't really need to work very hard to get by in life when you're the great-grandson of the richest man in the world, the son of a governor, and the heir to a sizable fortune. Even so, many affluent heirs make an effort to leave their own legacy, although things don't always work out. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Michael Rockefeller might have accepted a position on the Standard Oil Board of Directors and made a lot of money as he was destined to receive some of the Rockefeller fortune eventually, but he desired more. He instead assumed a position unrelated to oil, followed a new passion to the extremities of the globe, and ultimately lost everything, including his life. In all likelihood, Michael Rockefeller's ideal life was planned out for him. Work hard, manage family assets on the Standard Oil Board, receive a portion of the family money, and eventually pass away. However, he had higher goals, which would ultimately cost him his life. Michael was more of a camera and paint man than a pen and tie guy, even though he was the great-grandson of robber baron John D. Rockefeller and the fifth son of then-governor of New York Nelson Rockefeller. Put another way, he chose to focus on art rather than politics or business. The Museum of Primitive Art was founded by Michael's father, a passionate art collector, just before he graduated from Harvard in 1960. Michael was fascinated by it since it had pieces by non-Western painters like the Aztecs and Mayans. Nelson, who was determined to support his son in pursuing his ambitions, appointed Michael to the board of directors of the museum. Even if the youthful Rockefeller took advantage of the chance, it wasn't enough for him. Michael wanted to bring a significant collection to New York and accomplish something that had never been done before, according to a Harvard classmate. He also knew exactly where to seek for it, in Dutch New Guinea, which is a part of Indonesia's Papua area. Following the recommendation of the Dutch National Museum of Anthropology, the 23-year-old assembled a team to visit, examine, and acquire artwork from the Asmat tribe residing in the area. This excursion would be a long cry from the affluent life of Manhattan, as he soon found out in detail. There was hesitancy when Michael arrived at the village of Otsionep. Though Michael may have wished he had studied them, the Asmat had occasionally met with foreigners in the past. Nevertheless, he made an effort to blend in and adapt while he was there, and he was generally successful in doing so. The people gave him wooden masks, shields, spears, and other relics, and everything appeared to be in order, but the disparities in backgrounds were too great to overlook. Michael noted that eating the corpses of your foes during battle and drinking urine were common practices in Asmat society. He was so engrossed in the people and their culture that he was blind to the sly looks that a few Asmat gave him. Even after leaving the island, Michael continued to labor there. His vacation to Otsionep had fulfilled his expectations in terms of cultural enrichment, so much so that he planned to return the following year, which is when everything went sideways. Michael and his group made a valiant effort to return to Otsionep in November 1961. Their ship overturned while they were only 12 miles from land. As he chose to swim toward the coast, Michael, treading water, noticed it in the distance. That was the last time that anyone, at least Americans, saw Michael Rockefeller. Following his son's abrupt disappearance, Nelson dispatched ships and aircraft to hunt for him. He even made a flight to New Guinea to assist in the search. The hunt was eventually abandoned, though, as the Dutch Interior Minister declared, "There's no longer any hope of finding Michael Rockefeller alive." Drowning is the official cause of death. Some weren't so convinced about it, though. The missing Rockefeller heir's son, the governor, sent the media into a frenzy. Talking heads offered a variety of explanations for his absence, from shark attacks to his being a tribal member living in secret luxury on the island. The fact was kept secret for many years. Years later, however, Carl Hoffman, a correspondent for National Geographic, sought the truth. He was just a year old when Michael vanished, but he had always been enthralled with the notorious mystery. Carl then made his own way to Otsionep and set out to discover the truth. Carl, purporting to be researching Asmat culture, heard villagers talking about an American visitor who had died on the island decades before through his interpreter. Who was this traveler, Carl wondered. Remarkably, the islanders were happy to reveal the information. They casually told Carl all they knew about the day an American washed up on the coast, the day they killed Michael Rockefeller. To be fair, the Asmat said the killing was acceptable. They provided some context so that one may understand why. Dutch officials had invaded Otjianep 3 years before to Michael's initial visit in order to put an end to a tribal civil war that had broken out on the island. Things didn't go smoothly. After a miscommunication, these Dutch colonists opened fire on the Asmat tribe, murdering 4 of their chiefs. Guess who Michael met for the first time when he washed up on the beach, weary years later? Upon arriving to the shores of Otjianep, Michael encountered the sons of the war leaders who had been assassinated by the Dutch soldiers. These Asmat would not let the opportunity for vengeance to pass, whether it was rage or fear that motivated them to kill Michael. Carl Hoffman authored a book about the event and documented the horrific aftermath. The Asmat chopped off his scalp, boiled his flesh, ate his brain uncooked, and made tools out of his bones. They believed they had brought the universe back into balance, so they doused themselves in his blood. Nevertheless, the Dutch colonists had introduced firearms to the Asmat. Because of the Americans, they had seen helicopters. The tribe decided to hide Michael's killing because they thought they would have been wiped out if news had spread about their murder. Whether the narrative unfolded in this manner is hard to tell. Carl was informed by most islanders that they had been hearing about this one for years, but it hasn't been verified. Some have speculated that this story was made up decades ago to give the impression that the Asmat was more resilient in the face of approaching foreign invaders. However, a tribal chief asserted to own Michael's skull in his assortment, and when being questioned about Michael's attire on the day of his demise, the leader provided an impeccable description of the ensemble. What happened to Michael's creative ideas then? The majority of the items he gathered on his first trip to Otjianep are now housed in the appropriately titled Michael C. Rockefeller Collection at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. They remain there as of right now. It's unfortunate that Michael Rockefeller lost his life while doing what he loved. Fortunately, he can share his passions and interests with the world because of the museum display. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.